the reason why I'm calling a stand-up comedian is I can never find a chair. That's the biggest problem. Now, this first joke, a lot of people might not get it, but I'm going to try it. A man knocked on my door. He was a homeless man, and he said, "Could I have a bowl of soup?" I said, "Do you care if it's yesterday's?" He says, "No." I said, "Well, then come back tomorrow." I ran into a friend of mine the other day. I haven't seen him in years. I said, "How's everything going?" He says, "Beautiful." He says, "I'm having a lovely, wonderful life." I says, "Why? What's going on?" He says, "I've been in love with the same woman for 34 years. If my wife finds out, she'll kill me." This other fellow I met he told me that he went to China for his 25th anniversary. He and his wife, of course. And next week is his 50th anniversary, so he's going back to China again to pick up his wife. Now, the man knocked on the door, he had a telegram, and a 90-year-old lady, I say 90, I figure there's nobody that age here. Is Ann here? And he said, "Ma'am, I have a telegram for you." He said, "Oh," she says, "oh, a singing telegram?" He says, "No, ma'am, it's just a regular telegram. But I haven't had a singing telegram all my life." I says, please, I'm 90 years old, I could be dead in a minute." He says, "Well," he said, "you might not like it." He says, "Please, dude, sing me the telegram." So he says, "All right. Da-da-da-da-da-da, your sister Helen's dead." This guy was ironing his slacks. His wife was out of town, so he was ironing his slacks. And I was visiting him, and I says, "How come, John, your ears all bandaged up? I can't even see your ears, all covered up." He says, "Well, the phone rang, and I thought I had the phone, and I put the iron to my ear." And I had a third-degree burn. He says, "Wow." He says, "But how come your other ears covered up?" He says, "The phone rang again." Let's get serious for a moment. My two daughters, they're such beautiful, generous daughters. For Christmas, they're getting me SUV. The socks, underwear, and bag. Well, this man and his wife had just retired. They were both retired and had nothing to do. She said, "Look, honey," he says, "let's celebrate every week. Let's go someplace twice a week." She says, "That's fine." So he says, "We'll go drinking, have a few drinks, go to a nice gourmet 5-star restaurant, and then we can have companionship twice a week." So she says, "Fine, that's fine." He went on Tuesday, she went on Friday. I want to finish with 2 Pope jokes, because I only have a few minutes to do this on time. Last time they picked the Pope, his name was Pope Francis, I believe, about 4 or 5 years ago. But the problem was he wasn't their first choice. But they picked him because the first choice, they couldn't pick him for a special reason. I'll tell you why. His name was Giuseppe, which means Joseph in Italian. Giuseppe Sicuro. He was the best one that they wanted, but they couldn't pick him for this reason. They were afraid that if they picked him, everybody would call him Pope Sicuro. 10 years ago or so, one of the popes needed a kidney transplant. I forget the pope's name, it's been about 10 years. So they didn't know what to do there. So they said, the cardinal said to him, I don't know how we're going to do this, Pope. He says, they're in Rome in the Vatican, standing up. There's about thousands of people down there on the ground there, waiting for the answer. He says, look, to be fair, we didn't want to just pick anybody out, so we're going to get a long white turkey feather, and we're going to drop it from up here. And whoever that feather hits is going to be the one we're going to check to see if your kidney matches Pope's. They said, bravo, bravo, which means excellent or wonderful. So he says, here comes their feather. So here comes the feather. It's coming down. It's almost down to the ground. It's almost there. And it's just about to hit somebody and they're all gone. That's my favorite. I got one more joke. It's not a joke, it's a riddle. You know, everybody knows what knock knock is, right? So when I say knock knock, you all say, don't do it yet. I'm going to give my word, and then you'll say, ooh. Okay, knock knock.
Who's there?
Hodge.
Hodge who?
God bless you.
All right.
Oh Lord my God, when I in awesome wonder consider all the works thy hand hath made, I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. And when I think that God His Son
Said, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever has faith in me shall have life, even though he die. And everyone who has life and has committed himself to me in faith shall not die forever. Job said, as for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, and that at the last he will stand upon the earth. And after my awakening, he will raise me up, and in my body I will see God. I myself will see him. My eyes will behold him who is my friend and not a stranger. And Paul, when he wrote to the Romans, he said, none of us have life in ourselves, and none of us become our own master, even when we die. So if we have life, our life is in the Lord. And if we die in the Lord. So then whether we live or die, we are the Lord's. These passages, they summarize Carmen's conviction, and it's why we're told that when we grieve, we don't have to grieve as people without hope. This past year, I lost my dad in September, and it's funny, since that time, we've had several friends lose very, very close family members. We've lost a couple really close family friends. And I remembered something that my grandfather said to me years ago when I was young. He said, you know, as I get older, the idea of heaven becomes sweeter and sweeter and sweeter to me because it's populated with more and more and more people who are precious to me. And I thought about that. I was reflecting on that. And I'm so thankful for God bringing Carmen to the well. He actually was friends of our families even before he started coming to the well. My son Elijah's best friend, who kind of lives right behind us, was neighbors with Carmen. And so they would see him all the time, and he was just the nicest guy. And when my parents moved here about 10 years ago, the lady who lived right across the hall, back when Carmen was still young and spry and driving all over the Tri-Cities, he would come at least once a week and sometimes twice and pick her up and take her over to the senior center. And I was thinking about that because in the last couple years of Carmen's life, I've watched you amazing people surround him with love and take him to dinner and have him at your family gatherings and bring him to church and sit with him and take him to his doctor's appointments. And I thought, you know, it's fitting because as long as Carmen had mobility, he was always doing all of those things for everyone else. And it's so nice that today we could gather so many of us as friends and people whose lives have been touched by Carmen. And I think if Carmen could tell us, your lives touched his too. I'm so very thankful for that. So we would love to have the opportunity to hear from some of you. I think Allison and Adrian are going to kick us off, so if you guys would like, they're going to share some thoughts, and then if any of you would like to share a thought or a prayer or a memory about Carmen, we invite you to do that.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out today to remember Carmen. Because of his charisma and magnetic personality, there is no shortage of people here that would agree with me that to know Carmen was to love Carmen. I'm Allison Gear, and this is my son Adrian, and we've known Carmen since 2018 when we were greeters together here at the well. God decided back then that Carmen was going to be our person. His East Coast accent led us to learning very early on that Carmen and I were both born at St. Francis Hospital in Trenton, New Jersey, a mere 46 years apart. He grew up in the Chambersburg section of Trenton, known as the Burg, which was a very popular place for Italian immigrants, and that's where he met his future wife. His parents were from Sicily, and as many of you know, he was very proud of his Italian heritage, always wearing his FBI hat and telling people that it stood for full-blooded Italian.
Yeah, his FBI hat was one of the things that we loved about Carmen, but here's some other things that we've learned while we've known him. He was a retired civil servant from the state of New Jersey. On the side, he was a barber with his dad in Trenton. We loved hearing about how much he loved the pepper and egg sandwiches that his mom used to make him. More recently, you could have found him at his favorite restaurant, Colonial Cafe, with his favorite server, Angelica, ordering a bowl of lemons, supposedly to put in his water, but then just eating them straight out of the bowl. And just don't forget his love affair with pancakes. Oh yeah. And then back in 2020, we introduced him to Taco Bell. Yes. He'd been to his first Taco Supreme and asked if the white stuff, you know, the sour cream, he asked if that was mayonnaise. Yeah, I love how adventurous he was. He loved his friends at the senior center, his friends from the well, his family, and most of all, he loved Jesus. He was just the kind of older person that I would love to be someday, and I love that we got to know him as well as we did for the last 5 years.
And a friend asked me recently, where did Carmen go? As it turns out, she meant where did he go to church? But I misunderstood, and without hesitation, I said, heaven. The certainty that I have that Carmen is in heaven with the Lord, and that I will hear his laugh and see his smile, again, makes this sad time bearable. He was a comedian, and he loved to make people laugh, and to make people, especially women, feel special. So I will close with one of his favorite jokes that Carmen especially liked to tell all the female servers he met. Do you believe in love at first sight, or should I come back again? Thanks.
And I was blessed and fortunate enough to know Carmen just through the well for probably the past 5 or 6 years. Never once did I ever see anything but a smile on his face or hear anything but a laugh and a smile and a good word come out of his mouth or off his heart. I would wait for him every Sunday morning, walk out to the car and get a hold of him, bring him in, and we would talk, and he would say something, or he would lift my heart every Sunday. He would make me feel that much better. I mean, I look at the words we live by on the wall, and I can see Carmen everywhere. Again, I didn't know him all that long, but he was a great guy. He will be missed. He was loved. He loved this place. He loved everybody here. He loved God. And I loved him. Thanks.
Craig, and I'm a friend of Carmen's, and so a couple of things that come to mind, maybe a couple that might be a little silly, one that maybe is just a thought that I have from him. But number one, when I first met Carmen, I always remember he pulled up in that old beater red car of his, and he'd park it right out front, which I thought was interesting. And he'd just come walking with that little spring in his step that he had up to the front door, and got my opportunity to meet him, and he'd always say, hello, Craig. And so, but as time went on, he'd come down as he would drive in, and I'd say, well, hey, Carmen. And he'd say, well, hey, Craig, hey, where's Teresa? Right away, where's Teresa? Well, good morning, Carmen. And Teresa's inside here. And so as time went on, that routine continued on. But then when he moved into Mary's, Teresa would always challenge me to go pick up Carmen on my own, because that's a big step for me. And so I would go over there, and he'd be standing at that front door. And as I went up to that front door, he'd say, good morning, Craig. Where's Teresa? Starting to get a theme here, right? So, and then all of a sudden, as at the senior center, same scenario, I would walk in, see him sitting there as he was becoming a little more feeble. And then the same thing. Hey, Craig, where's Teresa? And so clearly he liked the ladies of the church. So if you guys didn't know that, I just wanted to let you know that officially. So that's one of the things I really remember about Carmen. Another thing, this is just a learning that I had as I was going along. I remember a time as he got older and had his walker, and he was sitting back there, and I remember, I'm not always the most clued in guy. And so it was at a point where he needed help to go into the men's room. And I remember my wife sort of just looks at me with that look and says, you're gonna help him, aren't you? Help Carmen. And I go, yeah, I'm gonna help Carmen. Well, as I'm walking, I'm like, well, how does this work? How do you help people in the restroom at that point? And so this is actually a big step for me as we go through. But as we would go in there, he would just keep apologizing and saying, Craig, I'm really sorry. I go, Carmen, that's what we're here for. That's what we're friends for. And the thing I always remember, though, is he would always, now I'm not the best hand washer, sorry, Pastor Jerry, but Carmen, man, he was a hand washer. He would scrub those hands, and I'm like, well, that's okay. And then he would take the little towel and throw it in when he left. But one time, we did this 3 times, and I'm thinking on the 3rd time, there's no way he's gonna wash his hands for a 3rd time. Sure enough, he's scrubbing away. But as we walked out, the part that I found so funny is, each time he's throwing the towel, and he went 3 for 3. I go, Carmen, 3 for 3, way to go. And we had a high five, and it was sort of fun. So a couple of laughter, but then one thing that happened is a little more of a tough one to sort of talk about. But imagine, you think about a church coming together, you guys, and I saw the church come together. And so I remember when, I don't know if it was Allison, you suggested that people drive Carmen. But I remember I had a little bit in my spirit, was like, whoa, don't overpromise, And I don't know, this probably came from a selfish spot, because I'm thinking, hey, we don't want to let them down. But every time you would see a text when somebody couldn't drive them that day, you would end up with somebody saying, I'll drive Carmen, I love Carmen. And over, you just saw people saying how much they loved Carmen and how much I'm going, holy smokes, from the negative space that I was starting in my mind that no one's going to be able to do this, to the fact that everybody wanted to do that with Carmen. And that was really something special. But then on the last night we spent with Carmen, I'll never forget it, because of all the people that were a part of his life, there were people with him to the end. And that fascinated me. And so all of a sudden I got the call that Carmen had passed. Teresa happened to be there, and she said, come on over, he has passed. And so when I walked in the room and I saw Jennifer, I saw Don, who just talked, I saw my wife Teresa, and it just hit me. This is the church who came together to surround a man who just needed some love and some support, and 3 people who really probably weren't friends beforehand are now friends because of serving Carmen. And those are just some thoughts that I say, that's the church, and we can continue to do that. So just a couple of memories I wanted to share.
Okay. I keep shrinking. Carmen and his wife, when she was alive, we were together next door to each other at Chesapeake Commons. We were the first ones, actually, the three of them, and up until the time that he left and went to his daughters. I mean, this was from 1992 that I got to know them. And they were just a wonderful couple to begin with, and I just felt so bad when his wife, you know, had her problems and then died. Carmen was just worried about any women around there, and so definitely made sure I was okay, you know, I was single, you know, and so, but up until, I think, 1 or 2 years, I'm trying to remember exactly when, that he went with his daughter. And, but like I say, he was, you know, I didn't believe or could feel like comfortable giving my key if anybody, you know, if I had to go out of town or do something like that. And he took care to make sure things were covered for me. And I mean, and he was always so funny, and it just, I didn't get to know you in this area type thing. But like I say, from 1992 till today, I've known him. And I'm trying to think of, I mean, there were so many other things that I probably could remember, but I mean, I'm trying to remember all the stuff since 1992. And, but anyway, I'm glad that I was told that he, and I wanted to be able to come here. I brought a card, and I thought maybe I can read it to you, what I felt. To the family and friends who all loved Carmen Calderone, it says, the front, a time for comfort and caring, a time for sharing warm memories, a time for honoring a wonderful life. Even as we mourn, we can remember the good times, be comforted by the love, and celebrate a life well lived with deepest sympathy. And then I wrote my note. Carmen loved God first and foremost. His family came second, with a close third of his beloved friends. Carmen was full of life since the day he was born to the day his soul went to heaven. He cherished everyone in life. God bless him always. My name is Rose Klauba. Anyway, so thank you.
Boy, there's a lot going on with each and every one of you with Carmen, but it always has the same routine. Jesus is the life and center of Carmen. I see those pictures back there. Wow. I didn't know he was so handsome, Bobby Soccer, when he was young. If I was his age, I might have flirted with him. But anyway, his wife was very lucky to meet him. They've been blessed. I don't know about her, but he always thought he wanted to die soon because he wanted to be with her. He loved her very much, even after death. Thought about her every day. Told me he prayed for her every day. Told me he prayed for all of us every day. And anything that you needed, when you asked Carmen for prayers, he would put you on his list. And he wouldn't forget. And he'd see you a week or two later. And he'd say, I prayed for you. I didn't forget. Carmen had a big heart, big soul, big everything else. But anyway, Carmen, I was going to tell you that when I look above my bed every night or in the morning, I've got a beautiful picture above my bed of the Holy Family. The Holy Family, like we all want, is a beautiful family with peace, excellence, hope, goodness, anything positive that we want for a family, I'm sure Carmen had. When I look at that picture and I see the Blessed Mother holding little baby Jesus, who's reaching out for some bowls of fruit, and his father Joseph holding the fruit, I think it's so beautiful, and that's the kind of life Carmen, I believe, gave all the time. I think of Carmen when I look at that picture just this morning. And I think it's very holy because we're living in a time that is so bad. It's like a cloud amongst us or a fog of evil. And there's very few men that can give us the light that Jesus asked for. When almost all the time, because so many people at different times know Carmen and he didn't change. So I want to just have a little, I can't even read in this dark with these glasses, but the just man is a light. This is in Psalms. The just man is a light in darkness to the upright. And that was Carmen all over again. And in Matthew, Jesus said on the mount, just so your light must shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your heavenly Father. And we all saw his good deeds all the time. When he couldn't give us the good deeds, it was paid back because God chose us to be there for him. We are all particularly chosen from God, just like he was chosen for us to know him. So good luck, Carmen. All your friends are wonderful. They all here because they love you. And we love you too, Carmen, till the end of times.
Hi, I'm Jen. When I first met Carmen here at the well, he was sitting alone, which wasn't normal for him. He normally had someone always sitting with him. And I came to him during service and asked, hey, can I sit with you? Would you mind? He's like, of course I wouldn't mind. Why would I mind? And after a little while sitting with him, he asked me, you don't have to do this. I was like, well, of course I do. Holding his hand when it got cold. And I told him, that's how my grandfather taught me. He'd be rolling over in his grave if I didn't show respect. You're my elder. Please let me treat you as I would have my own grandfather. And he seemed to be okay with it after that and let me love on him. But Carmen brought so much love and light to all of us, and he left his light behind with him. And at times, when we lose someone we love, we have to think about, what are we leaving behind to be missed? And Carmen left an amazing legacy of love, kindness, and laughter with everybody. And I know he would tell us, what are y'all crying so much for? But he loved all of you so much, and you left such a mark on his life as well. So please know, he loved you all so much. Thank you.
In 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, Paul said, first the Christians who have died will rise from their graves, and then together with them, we who are alive and remain in the earth will be caught up into the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and then we will be together with him forever. So encourage one another with these things. Again, Paul said in 1 Corinthians 15, he said, let me tell you a wonderful secret. We won't all die, but we will all be transformed. It'll happen in a moment, in the blink of an eye, when the last trumpet is blown. For when the trumpet sounds, those who have died will be raised to live forever, and we who are living will also be transformed. For our dying bodies must be transformed into bodies that will never die, into immortal bodies. Then, when our dying bodies have been transformed into bodies that will never die, the scriptures will be fulfilled. Death is swallowed up in victory. Death, where is your victory? Death, where is your sting? For sin is the sting that resulted in death, and the law gave sin its power. But thank God, who gives us victory over sin and death through our Lord Jesus Christ. So, my dear brothers and sisters, be strong and immovable. Always work enthusiastically for the Lord, because we know that nothing that we ever do in the Lord is wasted. Would you stand with me and pray together the Lord's model? I want to say thank you, not just for being here to celebrate, but for all the ways that you loved him so very well. And I hope that as we continue to mingle, there's food in the back. Please, no one feel the need to rush out. Those of you who didn't maybe get a chance to share your stories from the mic, we'll have an opportunity for you just to share those with us as we just kind of mingle. Take advantage of the pictures. We'll turn the slideshow back on. Some amazing pictures of Carmen when he and his wife were younger, and they really were just a stunning couple, and just enjoy the time together. But before we head in our different directions, would you just raise your hands and receive a blessing? May the Lord make his face shine upon you. May he cause his countenance, his smile, his joy to be on you and fill your heart with peace. And everyone said amen? Amen.
If I had only known the last time would be the last time, I would have put off all the things I had to do. I would have stayed a little longer, held on a little tighter. Now what I'd give for one more day with you. 'Cause there's a wound here in my heart where something's missing, and they tell me that it's gonna heal with time. But I know you're in a place where all your wounds have been erased, and knowing yours are healed is healing mine. The only scars in heaven won't belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken, and all the old will be made new. And the thought that makes me smile now, even as the tears fall down, is that the only stars in heaven are on the hands that hold you down. I know the road you walked was anything but easy. You picked up your share of scars along the way, but now you're standing in the sun. You fought your fight and your race is